Hey guys, welcome to A level chemistry and physics. Today we will be covering the AS level part of the syllabus known as momentum. And this will be an integral part of the AS level syllabus. A lot of questions come, and I will divide this into two presentations. So, this is the first one, which is the introductory part. So, what is momentum? So, in layman terms, it's essentially the power of a moving object. For example, if there's a large truck moving at a high speed, it will take a lot of effort and force to stop it. That's why the truck's braking power is much greater as compared to a normal cars. However, even if there's a truck and car traveling at the same speed, it would take much more force to stop the truck than to stop the car. That is because of the inherent property of mass. Therefore, we can derive two things from this simple observation. Number one, momentum is dependent on velocity. That means two identical cars in which one is traveling faster will take a larger amount of force to stop it. And number two, at the same velocity, an object of greater mass will also take greater amount of power to stop. Momentum is dependent on both mass and velocity of a moving object. So defining momentum. Momentum as is very simply defined as the product of the mass and velocity of a moving object. That's why we include mass and velocity as we described before. The equation derived is therefore P, which is the symbol for momentum, M, which is the symbol for mass, and V, which is the symbol for velocities. In the equation is P is equal to mv. The SI unit, which can be very easily derived, if you just put kg for mass and meter per second for velocity, it's kg meter per second. The important thing is that momentum is a vector quantity because velocity is a vector quantity. When you multiply a scalar with a vector, you get a vector. Therefore, it will have a direction as well as a magnitude. That means we'll have to take a reference point. If an object is going towards the right, we can take it to be positive, towards the left, negative, or vice versa. We will come down to the reference point in this presentation. So we'll first talk about collisions. So snooker is a great example of witnessing collisions in daily life, right? When you strike a snooker ball, it gains a certain velocity, and because of that and its mass, it gains certain momentum. As soon as it strikes another snooker ball, it propels the other snooker ball forward, right? It transfers its momentum and velocity to the other ball. The first ball itself either becomes stationary or stops in its tracks or bounces back in the other direction. Therefore, it is very safe to say that momentum can be transferred to another object via a collision. And we will examine collisions in the next following slides. So the first thing to remember, it's the very important part of the syllabus, the law of conservation of momentum. The law of conservation of momentum states that within a closed system, momentum is always conserved. So another way of saying this that the total momentum of the system before the collision is equal to the total momentum after the collision. We will come to an example detailing this soon. But the important part is what is a closed system? Closed system is defined as a system where there are no external forces acting on the objects, no air resistance, no friction, and no other forces disrupts the movement of either objects. It is completely unobstructed. So this is the example, right? So we have two balls here, one of mass 5 kg and one of mass 10 kg. On the left, we have before a collision. Okay, so these two balls are heading towards each other. So what we are doing is we are taking the left as positive. That means any ball moving towards the left will have a positive momentum. Any ball moving to the right will have a negative momentum. Okay. So here you can see the ball of 5 kg is moving towards the right at a velocity of 3 meters per second. The momentum for this ball is therefore 5 into 3, 15 kg meters per second. We do the same calculation for the 10 kg ball. It moves towards the left at a velocity of 2 meters per second. So momentum towards the left is 2 into 10 and which equals to 20 kg meters per second. I have not included the negative sign over here, but in the final calculation. So the total momentum of the system, the net momentum of the system, taking the towards the left as positive, is 20 minus 15, which is 5 kg meters per second. So towards the left is positive, that means 10 into 2, 20 is positive. 5 into 3 is taken as negative. So 20 minus 15, which is 5 kg meters per second. In the after case, when they have collided and they rebound from each other, the 5 kg ball is moving towards the left now with a 2 meters per second velocity, and the 10 kg ball is moving towards the right with a half meter per second velocity. So momentum towards the right is 10 into half, which is 5 kg meters per second. The momentum towards the left is 5 into 2, which gives 10 meters per second, 10 kg meters per second. Again, total momentum taking the left as positive is 2 into 5, 10, which is positive, minus 10 into zero point 0.5, which is 5. So 10 minus 5 gives 5. Do note that the total momentum is conserved in both cases. Even here it's 5 kg meters per second, and even after it's 5 kg meters per second. Do note you can't change your reference points in the before and after. That means you can't take left to be positive here and right to be positive here. The reference has to stay consistent between both cases. Right. So now we come to the types of collisions. So what is a perfectly elastic collision? A perfectly elastic collision is one where both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved during the collision. This means that there is absolutely no energy loss. That means there's no energy loss in terms of heat, sound, light, so on and so forth. Total kinetic energy is conserved. So this is a perfectly elastic collision. Before there are two bodies of mass m moving towards each other at 1 meters per second, and after they collide, they move away at a velocity of 1 meters per second. The momentum is 0 m initially because 1 into m minus 1 into m taking right as positive minus 1 into m will give a net momentum of 0 in before case, and even after 1 into m minus 1 into m will give 0. So total momentum is always conserved. Initial momentum is equal to the final momentum, which is 0, and kinetic energy is conserved in both cases. Okay, so relative velocity of separation and relative velocity of approach. These are two key terms. Even at first sight, we can easily determine if a collision is perfectly elastic. So what is relative velocity of approach? It is the relative velocity at which one object appears to be approaching another if the first object was stationary. So taking an example, if there are two people running towards each other, one is running at 2 meters per second, the other is running at 3 meters per second, the relative velocity of approach is 5 meters per second. That's when if one person thinks of himself as stationary, it will look like that the other person is running towards him at 5 meters per second, right? Because they're moving towards each other. Relative velocity of separation is the same thing, just that this holds true for separation. Now, that means the relative velocity at which one object appears to be moving away from another if the first object was stationary. Taking the same example, taking another example, if there are two people running away from each other in opposite directions, one to the right, one to the left, at 4 and 1 meters per second respectively, the relative velocity of separation is again 5 meters per second. Because if we take the reference point of the person running at 1 meters per second, it will look like that the other person is running away at 5 meters per second. Therefore, the relative velocity of separation will be 5 meters per second. In a perfectly elastic collision, the relative velocity of approach always equals relative velocity of separation. Always holds true for perfectly elastic collisions. Now we come to perfectly inelastic collisions. A perfectly inelastic collision occurs when the maximum amount of kinetic energy is lost from the system. So there are two objects which collide with each other. The collision is such where maximum amount of kinetic energy is lost from both of these bodies. This usually occurs when both the bodies stick together. So if, I'm going to take example, if there is one block which has the two-sided tape attached to one end and it collides with another block moving towards it. Then the two blocks will stick together, act as one body, and then move. When these two bodies stick together, the maximum amount of kinetic energy will be lost from the collision. Do note, momentum, on the other hand, is always conserved. Momentum is conserved in elastic collisions, inelastic collisions, perfectly elastic collisions, perfectly inelastic collisions, so on and so forth. Momentum is always conserved. It's just the kinetic energy which differentiates these two types of collisions. So taking the same example as the elastic collision, first the total kinetic energy was 1 meters per second, 1 m. That was the initial kinetic energy, 1 m. Here, the final kinetic energy is 0 m because both the objects have stuck together and they have zero velocity now. The maximum amount of energy loss occurred when these two bodies stuck together. So the final momentum and initial momentum is still the same. The initial momentum is 1 m towards the right minus 1 m towards the left, which gives net momentum of 0. Final momentum is also 0. But kinetic energy, initial and final, are not the same. That is what defines a perfectly inelastic collision when there is maximum loss of kinetic energy. Now, well, let's come to real life collisions. Collisions in real life are always in between the perfectly elastic and perfectly inelastic spectra. So these are the ends of the spectrum, perfectly elastic, perfectly inelastic. So there is always some loss of kinetic energy in the form of either heat or sound. Like in snooker balls, you always hear the sound of the two balls clanking together. That's the loss of energy. But the loss is not maximum. Now, because as I said, the loss will only be maximum. The two balls were sticking together. When that does not happen, that means there is some loss of kinetic energy, but the loss is not maximum. Therefore, there are always degrees of elasticity or inelasticity of the loss of kinetic energy. So that's all for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. I will be putting in another video on momentum soon, which will wrap up the whole topic. And if you have any doubts, don't forget to email me at the email ID below. Thanks for watching.